About 5.5 years ago, I realized that a lot of the foods that I thought were healthy were actually highly processed. So I decided to completely overhaul my family's diet. One night I said to my husband, we should take a pledge and we should make some rules and go 100 days without eating any highly processed food. I'm Leake, and I have a food blog and New York Times bestselling cookbook called 100 Days of Real Food. Even cooking is technically a form of processing or changing your foods, but we're trying to avoid the highly processed food that's processed in a factory. I define real food as, fresh, whole foods that are, either like a one-ingredient fruit or vegetable or 100% whole grain. Anything that has 5 or fewer whole ingredients, because, the more ingredients, typically, the more processed it is. So when I'm reading the ingredient label, I'm looking for not a very long list, and I'm also looking for ingredients that are items I would cook with at home that I'm familiar with. I did not learn to cook as a child with my parents. They had me in the kitchen maybe a couple times, but when I went off to college, I had no idea how to cook much of anything beyond a box of macaroni and cheese. So as an adult, taught myself to cook, kind of stumbled my way through the kitchen to figure out how to cook because it's something I wanted to do and something I quickly learned that I enjoyed, but I was reaching for, the can of cream and mushroom soup or the pack of onion soup mix. I was using a lot of highly processed ingredients. So when we decided to change our diets, I really had to relearn how to food shop and cook for my family. So I started by taking recipes I loved and had cooked for my family for years and tried to figure out how to make changes and adapt it to fit our real food lifestyle. The key to avoiding highly processed food is definitely planning ahead. So I sit down every week and, I try to get out different recipes to keep things interesting, and it's not the same old thing every night. And I sit down and write out what we're gonna have for dinner every night, leaving a few nights in there for flexibility, for leftovers, or if something unexpected comes up. But I write it out on a chalkboard that everybody can see, and that helps with the kids who want to know, what's for dinner tonight, Mom? It's all written up on the chalkboard and also keeps me on track, helps me use up the ingredients I've purchased and not have things go to waste. So it's really been helpful for me to have a plan. I liked eating fresh, real food from the beginning, but I would say that our palates definitely changed to where the processed stuff started to taste worse and worse, and we would need, less sugar and less salt than we did before. Our consumption of sugar as a society is just skyrocketing, and that's because it's not just in sweets anymore. It's in breads and crackers and salad dressings and yogurts. When manufacturers are stripping the fat out of products, they realized they didn't taste so great anymore, so they started adding sugar and other additives to improve the taste. And then a little bit of good fat in your diet is not a bad thing at all. Sugar is the thing we need to be more concerned about. We feel like we are spoiled eating this way. I love wholesome homemade food and would choose that any day over something highly processed. It's really the best way to eat. I feel like the way that we eat is a lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's something that is sustainable for many years to come. For anyone who wants to make these changes, it's important to remember that any small changes are better than none, because I would hate for someone to get so overwhelmed that they decide to give up altogether. And as long as you eat a wide variety of real food and make sure you get plenty of vegetables, everything else just kind of falls into place.